Have you ever had an argument with someone and thought you were absolutely right, only to walk away and ask yourself, wait a minute, was I the asshole? Well, that's where Reddit comes in. So join me each day as we read through the top Am I the Asshole post and ask the question, was this person indeed the asshole or not? As always, leave your opinion in the comments below and let me know if you agree or disagree with my take on it. Let's get started. So, what's the top post on Reddit today for Am I the Asshole? Am I the asshole for telling my wife it is time she went back to work? Well, that's a hot opening there. So let's see what this person says. Throwaway account for my wife follows my main. My wife has been out of work since 2018. She had a mental breakdown during her 5th year of teaching. Well, as a teacher, I can definitely understand that. She has been going to therapy since, and we started marriage counseling during COVID. Reason for marriage counseling was because she thought I was pushing her too hard to go back to work before her, and her therapist thought she was ready. I tried to explain many times that was not my intent, but realistically speaking, for me to keep up with expenses and retirement contributions, I pretty much have to take on extra shifts, which sometimes means I clock in over 18 hours a day. And on average, I have been pulling 84 hours a week. Yikes. I mean, no doubt about it, this guy's working hard, right? So I've been doing this since she stopped working. Okay, opening paragraph. Already looks like the man's got a lot on his shoulder. I mean, on his shoulders. It looks like he's supporting his wife. It's been, what, 5 years, and he's been busting his ass. Again, this is his side of the story. We only have one side, but just from that, I would say so far, not seeming like a bad fella. We recently had a fight because I had an extremely rough week and had the conversation again about her going back to work. She opened up with the same line she always does. We do not feel it is the right time yet. She feels I have made great progress, and if I rush it, I run the risk of losing it. The we being her and her therapist. I told her I really do not give a don't want to be demonetized, what her therapist has to say, and I'm sick of you hiding behind her words whenever this topic comes up. She started to cry, telling me she does not like being this way either, and I'm belittling her due to suffering from mental health issues. I replied saying I do not intend, I think there's a typo there, to belittle you or not take your issues seriously. The problem is I'm running myself ragged. And what happens if I have a mental break? Do you think I will have the luxury of not working? No, I will have to push through my demons. She said her therapist warned her this would happen sooner or later, and that I would try to manipulate her into doing something she was not ready to do. This is when I really lost it and just let it all out. Yeah, I would too. I mean, come on, 5 years, and then you're manipulating her because you've been busting your ass for 5 years, killing yourself for 5 years, and then she lays this guilt trip on you. Look, I'm sorry. I mean, I haven't finished, but I'm sorry that she has a mental health issue. That's rough, that's a serious thing, but at the same time, carrying someone like that for 5 years is going to break you too. It's going to give you a mental health issue. She's got to somehow pull her weight, carry her end of the load. And if the therapist doesn't understand how this overwork, this situation is detrimental to you, then that's a pretty shitty therapist, honestly. I mean, if the therapist cannot get the fact that it's hard for you, then maybe that's not the right therapist. Or maybe your wife is bullshitting you. Let's see. I told her this entire time you have not even made an effort to improve on certain skills. I told her she can still not cook to save her life. And that I was sick of coming home after 12 or 18-hour days just make us dinner cause her idea of making dinner is pretty. Gotta double check the grammar, dude. Gotta double check the typos or whatever. It's getting a little bit hard to follow here. Us dinner because her idea of making dinner is a pre-made dinner in the oven or ordering out. Among other things That said, she stormed out of the house, crying, yelling, and shouting about how I'm a piece of shit and rather see myself comfortable versus her getting better. So here I am. I do not feel at the core I am wrong, and while I said was harsh, I think it did have to be said. So Reddit, was I the asshole here? Okay, so I think that is the end of the original ply. It looks like the rest is the edits. So let's stick with this, with the original one, okay? Posted 21 hours ago, and they already have a lot of replies. Okay. I don't think so, not from this. Again, it's hard to say are you the asshole or not based upon one half of the story. But let's make the assumption that what you're saying is accurate, that you are working, 60 to 80 hours a week, that you are coming home and rather than your wife taking all this extra time that she has from not working to develop new skills to help her in the future to get a better job or change jobs or change careers or whatever, she's not developing cooking skills, which I'm guessing means that she might not be carrying her half the weight at home. Now, before some people jump on me about that, look, if one person is working and doing all of the heavy lifting at work and the other person is not working, then the person who's not working, sorry, whether it be the man or the woman, clean the damn house. Make sure that you make a comfortable home environment. Now, if you're both working, then yes, 50-50 housework, okay? But in this situation, she's not working. So the least she can do is make sure the home environment is comfortable for the partner. I don't know if this is a man or a woman, but for her partner who's busting his or her house to, save for retirement and make sure they have a roof over their head. So am I the asshole? At least from my perspective, no, completely not the asshole. I mean, honestly speaking, 1 year of doing that would be more than most people could stomach, more than most people could take. Most people would break after a year from the pressure, from the burden being on their shoulders. So why would you be the asshole in this situation? You've carried her for 5 years, and from what you're saying, she's not made progress, or she has made very little progress. Look, maybe I'm the asshole here, but honestly, in that situation, I might call it quits. It's a bit too much for one person to carry. On the other hand, from what you're saying, from her response, I honestly question if she's being completely truthful. I question, is she actually going to therapy? And if she is going to therapy, what's happening in those sessions? What is she saying? Because again, if that therapist is saying, "Oh, well, of course, this would eventually happen," you're going to guilt her and trying to get her into trying to go back to work. That seems like a very shitty thing for a therapist to say, and I don't imagine a good qualified therapist would say that. So if the therapist is not good or qualified, get a new therapist. Or maybe it's not really the therapist saying that; it's the wife saying that, trying to get sympathy, trying to make it where she doesn't have to go back to work. Maybe she's gotten comfortable about not working. So I don't know. I gotta say, initial opinion, you're not the asshole. All right, so let's go down and see what are the responses. Hey, I appreciate the replies. Great. I missed something. Maybe. Apologize if I did. Yes, I have been to a couple of sessions with my wife with her therapist. To be honest, it largely felt I was getting ganged up on. Yikes. If you feel like you're getting ganged up on, then automatically I'm gonna say that's a shitty therapist. No therapist should make the partner feel that way because that doesn't help anything. It makes the situation worse. My wife brought up how I was always tired. No shit. So I explained I am working hard to maintain our home. When I suggested part-time work would allow me to work less, the counter suggestion was to cut things like saving for retirement. Cut things like saving for retirement and hold off on paying off debt? You know, yeah, life doesn't wait for you. I'm testament to that. I thought I had plenty of time to work hard later, and then I hurt my back when I was 30 and can barely save money. So, yeah, life doesn't wait for you. If you can save for retirement now, save it now. Save for it now. Save to pay off your debts now. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to pop up in your life to prevent you from saving money in the future. So, yeah, that is not a good argument for the therapist or your wife to give. Let's see. Renting out the house to cover mortgage, downsize to an apartment. But then the therapist says, oh, such a drastic change to the environment could have a negative impact on her depression. During another session, she brought up how my suggestion she tries cooking to save us money so we don't order so much. She felt insulted because, in terms of money coming in, I'm making slightly more than our combined income. And she was able to cover her expenses, so she does not understand why we are having such a hard time. All right, I'm done. Look, yeah, change wives. Don't just change therapists, change wives. I mean, I'm sorry she's having a hard time, but obviously it's not going to get better. I mean, if she's not going to change therapists, which I'm guessing she won't, your situation is not going to get better. I mean, if the therapist and she are ganging up on you, and if she is not willing to improve herself in the domestic capacity at home, well, then screw her feelings. I mean, I'm all for being sympathetic to someone having mental illnesses and whatnot, but there is a limit. There is a definite limit where you're going to break down, you're going to burn out, and that's not good for you or the relationship either. So, what's the point? I mean, honestly speaking, maybe it's a bit harsh, but yeah, it's her issue. You've been patient enough. 5 years, 4 years too long, in my opinion. Kick her to the curb. Find someone who actually appreciates you and who will carry their weight. And if they do have a mental issue, will actively work a bit harder to get through it, maybe. Um, and while they're working through it, still continue to try their best to contribute. Maybe that sounds a bit harsh, yeah, but I mean, everyone has a breaking point, and it seems like this person has already been pushed to his or her breaking point. Anyway, that's it. What do you think? Agree, disagree with my assessment here? Think I'm the asshole here? That's fine. Say it in the comments. Anyway, talk to you next time. Have a great day.